This is my good friend Tom Ragg of Ruby and the Trail Dog fame. Way back in 2014, we had a bit of an idea where we were going to ride from the top of Wales in Conway to the bottom in Port Talbot, all the way off-road on our mountain bikes together. That's about
215 miles.
215 miles, give or take, and about 7,000 metres of climbing.
It wasn't quite that simple. Along the way, we planned to do 7 trail centres, some big well-known ones such as Cody Brennan, and some ones we'd not heard of before, like Quimreda.
Yeah, so basically the route was going to be mostly off-road, rideaways, stuff like that, and then it would do a lap of each trail centre along the way. This route is usually part of something called the Rough Ride Guide, which was part of a MBUK feature. The idea is that you do this ride over, let's say, 5 or 6 days, and you hit a trail centre each part of the day. We wanted to do it a bit differently because we wanted to do it in one foul swoop, so in one day, or as close to one day as we could get. No sleep, in theory, no stopping, and as self-supported as we could be.
We were both pretty nervous because no one's ever done it in one go before, and looking into it, we weren't even able to find people who had done it in 2 days, let alone one day.
There was a lot of kind of misinformation about how far it really was, how many metres of climbing. We had things like, oh, it was 8,000 metres climbing, and then I think we saw like 14,000 metres of climbing. So we were a bit worried, and I think that's why it took us so many years of saying each year, yeah, we're going to do it, to take it on, and for all our equipment and time to sync up, didn't it? Eventually, the stars aligned and we found ourselves taking the train up from Port Talbot, where we left the car, up to Conway for the night before the ride. Stayed in a hotel, met the photographer Matt Grayson, who was going to shoot it for MBUK magazine, and obviously we had a really good feed.
So all good days on the bike start with a big breakfast. We treated ourselves both to some pretty big full English breakfasts.
Every big ride starts with a big feed. Left the hotel, it was a short ride over to the start, where again we met Matt the photographer, plenty of faff.
Yeah, some photo shoots on the quay.
And then, yeah, set off. First part of the route was just a 10-mile section of road riding. That was really chilled, really nice.
Very low key. I remember we started out quite hard though, didn't we, as always?
Yeah, we always seem to start together, and even though we knew we were going to be racing for a long time, immediately Tom's half-wheeling me on the climb. We've only got 30 hours of riding left to go. Quite funny. But anyway, yeah, the road section flew by, and then we hit that first kind of bit of trail, didn't we? An hour and 10 minutes in, started to hit the off-road. Tom Ragg, spirits are high. Still feel pretty sick from my huge breakfast.
Yeah, which was straight into a very grassy climb, wasn't it? With lots of rocks.
Yeah,
and a push.
And we were really lightly geared. We did a lot of fettling with the bikes and worried about the kit. So I had a SRAM Eagle cassette on the back, which is a 50 tooth on the back, and a 30 on the front. I think you had. I
had a 28 tooth on the front and a Shimano XT 46 tooth on the back.
Yeah, and then we hit this horrible steep climb, hour in, and immediately we had to get off and push because we were loaded up, really heavy, and it wasn't the best kind of start to it, was it? You kind of contemplating how far we had to go, and we were pushing straight away, which wasn't very good.
The average speed was quickly dropping.
First climb, current speed, 3.5 miles an hour. First trail centre you hit was the Marin Trail.
Straight into some really nice flowy single track. Both had a smile on face. I think it was a couple of berms in. Joe's pack felt a bit, bananas fell everywhere.
Yeah, we soon learned, didn't we, the packs that sway on the back, we'd loaded them up, stuffed them full of stuff, but you had to kind of pack them in a very certain way to stop them when the suspension was compressing.
Yeah, certainly didn't feel natural riding them on the trails with that much weight, did it?
Yeah, but we soon kind of got over that, onto the next trail centre. Still sunny, so morale was still pretty high, and we were chowing down sandwiches, so we were happy. We're 21 miles in. It's taken about 2.5 hours with all the stops for the photographer. And that means we averaged just under 8 miles an hour, which has us finishing in about 27.5 hours.
Then after about 4 hours, we entered Penmachno, which is a little known trail centre really. I don't think we saw anybody else while we were there.
Eating lots of delicious food. No proper riding. We didn't take any, cycling specific gels or bars. It was just
packet sandwiches and crisps.
Sandwiches, crisps, chocolate bars, Nutella, all the major food groups.
Yeah.
Col du Brenin was next. We did the Beast Trail. That was quite a good one for our bikes. We were both on full suspension scalpels.
Yeah, it was a big climb though, wasn't it, to the top of Col du Brenin.
And we had our first calf stop.
Mile 50.
Quarter done.
Morale from Tom. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's good now. We were suffering a bit earlier. It was hard work, and the average speed has started to go up again, which is really good. Then around this point, I guess we hit our first major challenge of the ride about 8 hours in, didn't we?
Yeah, which was a trail centre called Corris, and it started with an extremely difficult climb. I think from the bottom we were in granny gear. At Corris, you could start to see that Joe was just going a little bit quiet, not responding immediately when we were talking, and you could tell he was starting to hurt.
Just come down from, is it Corris? It's horrible. Real steep. Good descent. Good descent. Yeah, really good descent. Up there.
My memory gets a little bit hazy now because we were just kind of chasing the light, weren't we, to meet the photographer Matt at our final photo stop before it got dark, which was at the 100-mile mark, wasn't it, and about 12 hours in. This is where things started to take a turn for the worst, didn't they?
As soon as we arrived and saw Matt, we were just greeted by about 1 million midgies.
We really wanted to get these shots by the reservoir, so we were doing quick, long exposures up and down, and just getting totally my legs, my arms, eyeballs.
Yeah, all under the helmet, just riddled with bites.
I think that was a point when you were definitely in a bit more of a, you weren't talking.
Yeah, I wasn't into the photos then, I just wanted to crack on, I think.
We haven't reported in for a while because we had a few low moments. I crashed, and then we got
Attacked by midges.
so many midges.
What food are you going for, young Tom? Bit of chocolate flapjack.
It was properly dark by this point, about 12 at night, and I think we thought we'd maybe got through the worst part of the ride, but about 2 in the morning when we were descending an area called Strata, Florida, things got worse again, didn't they?
Yeah, so it was explained to us that this was a nice kind of long gravel fire road section, which it was. It was just about 4 foot underwater, wasn't it?
Is it getting worse up there?
And it started as a few puddles in this kind of fire road descent.
Yeah.
And we'd ride through them and you're like, oh, feet are a bit wet, but it's not too bad. And these puddles started to get deeper until eventually it was kind of getting up to your knees, and we were having to either kind of hoik the bikes onto the side of this bogged reeds and stuff like that and try and walk through, or hold the bikes above our head and walk through these flooded sections of trail. Both of us weren't having a good time at this point.
Flooded. So we're kind of hiking across grass.
I think that section was 2 miles and it took us 2 hours to do, didn't it?
Yeah, it was incredibly slow.
Rather Florida. Don't do it.
Just bogs we had to walk through, wasn't there? It's all right though. Sausage roll from morale, but getting light in a few hours. Try and get through some trail centres unscathed.
The rest of the night kind of passed without incident. It was fairly smooth riding. The final bit, and this was a point when Max, our route guide, and a lot of people have told us it was going to be really nice, like the most picturesque part of the ride and the most fun part of the ride was the descent that we did at about 5 in the morning into the Dothy Valley.
All I remember was just the ferns and the overgrown grass, and just really slippy, and there's tugging at our bars, wasn't it, and we were falling over. And
yeah, again, just frustrating progress. That was the kind of like the nighttime section was marked by frustrating progress.
It's just very tiring, wasn't it?
Yeah, exhausting on your mind as well as your body. saw Matt about 6 in the morning. It's good to see him. That was a good morale boost, wasn't it?
A huge morale boost every time we saw him.
We kind of thought we'd be able to do it self-supported.
Yeah, and we pretty much did, other than water.
Water, yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, we'll just stop in all these places and get water. But middle of Wales, it's pretty much deserted, isn't it? So
hitting all the major food groups.
At this point, we're about 20 hours in, and this is where I'd say we had probably hit our favourite trail centre of the whole trip.
We hadn't actually planned to necessarily do this one, and this is called BikeRadar. I remember us both riding down the descent there as if we'd just started riding.
We were both starting to really feel it physically by then. My wrists were quite swollen, your knees.
Yeah, my left knee had started to get a niggling that was getting worse and worse.
You were kind of starting to pedal a bit weird, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm pedalling squares by this point.
My undercarriage through all the kind of trail centres and the rocky trail centres was starting to, let's say, deteriorate, so I said about that the better. But we had a strong motivation which our route guru Max had put into the route.
So we were heading for McDonald's. We were going to get there about 25 hours in.
The Golden Arches.
We were both very ready for a big feed, weren't we?
We were really sleep deprived by then. And we sat down for probably like 25 minutes, didn't we? Which was we hadn't done up until that point. And
yeah, rest my knee up for a little bit and get your hands ready for Afan.
I think we were happy, but we were in a bit of a sorry state, weren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
About 192 miles in.
One trail centre left. Afan.
But we've got to go. I don't know if you can see the kind of big mountain in the background. That's where we're going.
On the climb up to Afan, I was really, really struggling with my knee.
How are the knees?
Killing. My ass is killing.
So I said to Joe that he can sort of go off at his own pace and we'll regroup at the top. There was a little more to it though, wasn't there?
Yeah, we've been going for well over a day now. I needed a nature poo, but I definitely learned that if you do a nature poo, you want to make sure you're with the person that has the bog roll, or else you're going to be waiting for 10 minutes at the side of the trail squatting until they show up, which was bad times. So we got to the top of Afan around all the wind turbines.
Yeah.
We were really sleep deprived by now and we kept getting lost, didn't we?
Yeah, we kept getting lost.
It was really depressing every time we'd kind of go down this fire road. We'd think, oh, I've cut a bit out, and then it'd be back up the fire road, back by that wind turbine we've just gone by. By this time I couldn't sit down. You again were kind of
one-legged.
Yeah, but we got down. This was the final time we met Matt for a few more pictures in Afan on quite a rocky trail.
And you were really struggling on this descent, weren't you?
Really struggling. I was in a proper grump.
I was loving it.
Yeah, you were pretty quick actually. You were every time we'd do a bit, I'd turn the GoPro on and you just fly off, and I'd just be kind of like jilting down like that because I just couldn't hold any speed. My hands were aching.
Fucking my wrists are real bad.
After Afan, after about 210 miles, we just had a cycle path to follow all the way into Port Talbot. Still managed to get lost.
So it's not anywhere near the finishing point?
But eventually we got down to the beach in Port Talbot and Matt was waiting there for us, wasn't he?
Yeah, for a very sort of understated finish.
That's always nice flattering.
It's worth pointing out that Matt had also had no sleep by this point. He'd been up all night. When we finished, how did you feel about it? You know, I haven't really spoke to you about it.
My knee pain had I've forgotten about it from descending after Afan. So I almost felt like we could keep going. But on the other hand, I was so mentally tired that I just wanted to collapse.
We had another delicious meal there. We had another Burger King. And then it was just the drive back to Bristol. Because we both had work the next day.
Just a small drive back to Bristol, wasn't it?
Well finished, had a burger.
Just had a Burger King. That's about
tired.
it. Quite tired. Yeah. I haven't got much to say now, I'm too tired. My bum hurts too much. My knees hurt. I had a nice time. Bye.
Everyone likes some numbers, so here are the stats of our ride. The final distance was 214.6 miles. We did 7,880 metres of climbing. Tom burnt 11,500 calories with a normalised power of 193 watts, which for the amount of time we were riding is pretty good. We thought, wasn't it? We were quite pleased with that. The overall time was 28 hours and 27 minutes. So what were your highlights of the ride?
Probably North Wales, and before we'd done Strada Florida and Dotty Valley, and morale was pretty high.
Highlight for me was definitely the Cymru Trail Centre that we did around hour 20. We were kind of felt like we were on the home straight by then. That was really good. Low lights?
Strada Florida, it has to be.
Yeah, that was bad times. It took us a while to recover after the ride, didn't it? And I had like kind of creaky ankle, so it was a little bit of tendonitis. So I didn't ride for a couple of weeks after your knee.
Yeah, I had to have a few weeks off the bike for my knee, had some physio, but slowly built it back up and it seems all right now, so hopefully no long-term damage.
We're both on our Cannondale scalpels. They actually held up really well.
No punctures, no mechanicals.
Yeah, we were running Schwalbe tyres with snakeskin casing. I don't think I'd do too much too differently really. There's a few frustrating points which you know is going to happen. Lots of gates, that was quite annoying as well.
I'd definitely be up for another challenge like this, but I don't feel the need to go and do the Welsh coast to coast again.
But the trail centre riding was really good, and maybe doing it over 5 days in nice sunny weather would be pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. Things like this can't happen without a lot of help. So a huge thank you to Max Darkins from Rough Ride Guide, because he helped us massively with the route.
The next big thanks has to go to Matt Grayson, the photographer, who followed us around. The only job he was there to do was to shoot, but he ended up doing a lot more than that, didn't he? And he helped us, kept our morale up, just a real sound guy, and did a great job. We were so pleased with what he did. So that was our Welsh Coast to Coast challenge. I had a brilliant time.
Oh, okay.
Tom didn't.
Yeah.
So that was our Welsh Coast to Coast challenge. Although it was tough at points, doing it with a good mate, doing challenges like that, it's awesome, and we definitely recommend it.
Yeah, we look forward to the next one.
Kind of.